Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I started this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you click on that bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. Let's see. If you'd like to participate on the live discussion, you can join me most weekdays where I go live on YouTube around 4 p.m. Central Time. Or outside of my YouTube, you can consider joining the Discord I've created. There is a link for that down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. A lot of times people ask me what kind of foods I'm eating to help me with my weight loss, and that Pinterest board has a lot of great examples of the foods that I've been enjoying. Today is day 872 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose 240 pounds so far. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. It is weigh-in Wednesday, so if you have any on-scale victories, I'd love to hear those as well. If you're struggling with your diet, what's causing your struggles? If you're succeeding with your diet, what are you doing to succeed? Share it with the rest of us. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are doing that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Switching over to the main here. Hello, Cindy and Christy and Pretty Girl's Mom and Our Tiny Acres and Plants Only Muncher. Hello, everybody. Thanks for checking out today's video. I hope you had a great day. Let's see. I guess we'll talk about weigh-in Wednesday since it is weigh-in Wednesday, and I hopped on the scale this morning and posted my weigh-in. I weighed in this morning at 280.2 pounds, which was a little bit disappointing because that was a just under 1 pound weight gain since the previous week. So I was frustrated by seeing that on the scale, but just moments after I got done with my video, there was a little bit of movement going on in my belly. So I went to the bathroom, and a little while later I hopped on the scale again this morning and took a photo of my weight this morning later than my weigh-in, and I was 279.2. So I did have a weigh-in today where I lost 0.2 of a pound instead of gaining weight. So I'm not overly concerned about that weight gain, considering I was able to see it go away. And now if I got on the scale, I would probably be well over 280 since I ate lunch and replaced the food that I got rid of there to drop myself back down to not gaining weight. But my video, the weigh-in was 280.2, so my weight's 280.2 for the week. That's what it's going to be. I think I'm okay. And he says, LOL, I was just going to ask if you had a bowel. Yes. I did. I was kind of waiting for it all morning, and then finally I got sick of it, and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to weigh in and see what it is. And then a little while later, before I had a chance to eat, it showed up. So I decided to take a photo of it just to prove that I wasn't 282 or 280.2 all day, and that I actually didn't really gain weight. And I didn't really feel like it's something that these half-pound fluctuations, quarter-pound fluctuations from week to week, so much of that is going to be the food that is in your body that is being digested. You know, to get a true body weight of what your body weight is, you would have to fast for 3 to 5 days and then take a weight. And then you could be like, well, that's what just body weight is, because you don't have the added weight of the food that your body is digesting in it. So yeah, I wasn't too concerned about the little bit of a weight gain. I'm imagining that it will be, it's slowly trending in the right direction. It's something where a year ago this time I was around 320 pounds, going between 322 and 318. And then a few weeks later, I was going between 320 and 316. And then a few weeks later, it's 318 to 314. So there's going to be these ranges of weights that you're going to bounce between on your way down. But as long as the overall trend is in that direction that you're looking for, you can't be too upset. Our Tiny Acres here says you posted your loss on the Discord. You were glad to see a loss after you had a plateau the previous week. That's awesome. I did see that you posted that. And I'm glad that you got to see a little bit of a loss. Our Tiny Acre says you've noticed the bouncing too. It's going to happen for anybody's weight loss. The initial, like the first month, the first couple months, sure, seeing a 1 pound gain or seeing a plateau can be frustrating. In some ways, should be frustrating depending on what you're doing. So I can understand those frustrations that people have early on in the diet about going up a little bit or not losing as much as they wanted. But 872 days into the diet, you're in a different position. You're in a different spot. There's, the fasting is kind of shows that same thing kind of on a shorter scale. When I did my 40-day water fast, I lost an incredible amount of weight in the first days. I was losing 10 pounds a day the first few days. But then by the time I got to the end of the water fast, I was only losing 1/10 of a pound a day. And the diet is going to be like that on the larger scale. At the very beginning, you're going to see great losses, and your body is going to adjust, and you're going to see better numbers week 1, week 3, week 5, week 7. But then when you get to week 30, week 40, week 50, you're not going to see those same results. But again, as long as it's trending down and you're not losing control, if I was in a position where I gained weight and I had not followed my diet completely, that's also a different scenario. But I followed my diet completely, so I'm not upset about what the weight is doing. Cindy here says that you have not had meat in 3 years. That's amazing. We're coming up on 2.5, but 3 years, that's awesome. But then all day yesterday, you were craving buffalo wings with ranch and blue cheese dressing. How bizarre. Yeah, you were hungry. It's something, if you're going to have cravings, it's because there's some sort of hunger. And you just have to see if you can satisfy that hunger with something other than what you're imagining. The thing I used to think about was with soda, something that I've struggled with even since starting this challenge. And I would be driving down the road and I would start craving a soda, Barks root beer or something. And I would just start thinking about soda and then thinking about, I don't need soda, but well, I've been doing good. It's worth it. I'm doing that whole dance in my head to convince myself to drink a soda. And in hindsight, what I think it was I was thirsty. And so my brain said, or my body sent my brain a signal that said, hey, we're thirsty. And then the brain's immediate training is to go directly to what is going to satisfy this thirst and, satisfy this person the most. And of course, water would work, but soda full of sugar is going to be way better than the water. So your brain sends you to the soda. But you have to realize that it's just thirst, and you can satisfy that thirst with water. The same thing with the food. If you're craving something like buffalo chicken wings, it's hunger. Satisfy that hunger with broccoli, potatoes, rice, beans. Satisfy the hunger, and then see if it still comes back, if it's still there. And there can be thousands of reasons why you're thinking of that food. It may be something you saw, something you thought about in a dream. Who knows what could have triggered it, but I'm guessing that there was a little bit of hunger behind it, and hopefully satisfying your hunger helps with it. Pretty Girl's mom says that I'm doing great, or I'm doing fine. You should have a good loss next week. Yeah, I'm due for a good loss. I'm due for a couple pound loss. I'm sure it'll come soon enough. I didn't go over the food that I ate yesterday, but Carrie today, when I said, oh, I'm going to gain weight, she says to me, you know why you gained weight, right? And I go, yeah, I know why I gained weight. And the reason why I gained weight was because of all the food I ended up eating last night. I don't know if it'll come across very well here, but let me go ahead and pull this up. And the last time I had a weight gain, 3 weeks ago, it would have been, that I had a weight gain. It was following the same meal too, but it's not this meal's fault, but just a coincidence that last night we had a big leafy salad for dinner last night. I took a couple photos of us getting it together here in the bowl. This is kind of everything mixed up. This is a large bowl here. The bowl that you're seeing now isn't the largest bowl we have. This is the large bowl that we mixed it in, and then I took half of it, put it in this bowl. But this is still a lot, like you would serve a whole group of people macaroni and cheese in this bowl, or some sort of potato salad kind of thing. It's a large bowl. That I had this for dinner last night, and then after dinner, I had my serving of cobbler that I did not eat from Monday night, because Monday night Carrie cooked up the cobbler. I ended up falling asleep and just said, I'll just eat it tomorrow. So then after dinner yesterday, I had the cobbler from Monday night. And then later on, I had the cobbler that Carrie made for Tuesday night. So I had 2 pounds of fruit probably, plus oatmeal last night at the end of the day. So I got all of that junk in my belly this morning when I hopped on the scale for my weigh-in. So I wasn't super surprised that I gained weight, knowing how much food that I actually ate last night. And then today we had broccoli and oatmeal. My lunch and my breakfast kind of got pushed together, and so I just threw the potatoes in with that broccoli and had a big bowl of potatoes. That is also a very large bowl. If you can see there's 4 large potatoes in that bowl, and then I just mixed it up with the broccoli. So that is the food that I've eaten in the past 24 hours, as you can tell, it is an extremely large amount of food, and I feel very full and satisfied right now. Let's see here. Pretty Girl's mom saying it's post-surgery craving. Yeah, you just did have surgery. And let's see. Then let's see. Our Tiny Acre says you quit eating meat in 2011 when you started projectile throwing up. Wow, that's pretty rough. So, it was just from animal products, from dairy. Did they know what was going on? That's crazy. But yeah, that's a good enough reason to quit eating something if it causes you to projectile vomit. And thinking back of some of the things that caused me to do that, I remember never liking them again or not liking them again. They're doing that. So Pretty Girl's mom said, Cindy said you didn't think of the post-surgery thing. You just, Cindy says you didn't think of yourself as just being hungry, but you were really hungry today. Yeah, I think that our brain sends us weird signals that we miscommunicate or we misread. And sometimes it's saying hungry, but it's also your brain's thinking, what can I do to satisfy that hunger and give them the most pleasure possible? And eating something that is fried and covered in buffalo sugar sauce, I'm sure, is very dopamine stimulating. Let's see. Pretty Girl's mom says to check out the Chef AJ recipe for mac and cheese with buffalo crumble by one of the guests last week. Was it a salt, oil, sugar-free recipe? Because I'm always down to try mac and cheese. If it's something that we can make compliant or make as part of our meal. You said you made it yesterday and it was awesomely yummy. And then Our Tiny Acre says that, yeah, in 2011, you were just throwing up from any meat when you ate it. That's crazy. That's wild. Yeah, that will definitely adjust or cause you to adjust your diet, I would imagine, having something like that happen. Let's see. Pretty Girl's mom says that she would normally say not being able to eat something would be bad, or that sucks, but not being able to meet that makes it great, and it's more of an incentive to not even try eating it. Yes, that would make it easier, and I feel like they've tried to do diets like that, or like, I'm trying to think. It's the first thing that pops into my head. Isn't there like a pill you're supposed to be able to take that, not supposed, but that you can have somebody take that if they drink alcohol, they get sick. There wasn't there diet pills that people were like, if you took the pill and then ate too much, it would make you sick. I feel like, it's something, what it tastes, it was there a product called Cholestra or something that there was an issue that people were getting diarrhea from it? I feel like there was something weird like that. Maybe somebody else knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's what everybody's looking for, is that magic pill that would make you sick if you overeat, or that would cause you not to eat too much. In fact, I tried a magic pill one time. That was probably one of my lowest points, was back, I think it might even been before I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. I was up watching infomercials at 2 a.m. and they were talking about, buy this magic pill that you take the pill and then it expands inside your stomach and then it takes up all this space, so then you don't have room for more food. And it was kind of like a fiber diet. Fiber has no calories, so let's just fill the stomach with 0-calorie fiber. That way, when he decides to eat the buffalo wings and the cheeseburgers and the French fries, he can't eat as much as he normally would have because this pill takes up space in your body. And I bought them and tried them once. Then I got weirded out by it. Like I was like, I don't know. It's like I'm swallowing cotton balls, and but I tried it and it did not work. So I do not suggest taking that product, whatever it was 15 years ago or 20 years ago when I took it. There is no magic pill. The magic pill comes in the form of a broccoli floret and a potato. The magic pill comes in the shape of rice and beans. You don't have to take, I guess grains of rice are kind of like pill shaped, just take thousands of rice pills every month and you'll start to see the weight fall off. Let's see here. Our Tiny Acres says eating this way has made you feel much better. The Alestro gave you the oily poo. Yes, it was a fat substitute, Ron says. Okay, so that was something that was different. Yeah, so Our Tiny Acre says that one of the diabetic meds does that. Is that what the Ozempic? Is that what it is? Ozempic is. Yeah. Let's see. Semaglutide. Is that what the semaglutides do? Is that they're supposed to make you sick, or do they give you, or are they an appetite suppressant? I know I've seen a lot of stuff going on about something. I think it's the semaglutides that I would have been a huge candidate for. I totally would have signed up for this. And I'm curious. I almost want to call my old doctor up and be like, hey, you still giving people that phentermine stuff, or you moved on to the Ozempic? Because the phentermine don't work. But none of it works. None of it changes how you eat. None of it changes your relationship with food. All of it just masks it for a short period of time while you're able to take the drug. And some of these drugs might even be like, you're supposed to take this drug the rest of your life, which wild. You can't make good dietary yes, the low battery on my phone. Yes, I saw the low battery warning on my phone. Is that what you're asking me about? Everybody sees all my stuff. Here, I plugged it in now. See, it's plugged in. It'll charge up. But yeah, the newest pills, the newest drugs, and I think that a part of it, my title today is Believe in Yourself. I think that these drugs and these pills are just proof that you don't have a belief in yourself. You don't believe that you're strong enough to do it on your own. You don't believe that you can do it. And you're wrong. You're wrong. You don't need those pills. You don't need the drugs. You don't need the supplements. You don't need the gadgets. You don't need those things. You just need to change your mindset about food, and what you're willing to eat needs to change, and what you're willing you have to start being protective and selective of the things that you allow into your body. Like you wouldn't just let anybody tattoo your skin, like you wouldn't let just anybody even cut your hair, but you're going to let just anybody throw some food together in the kitchen and serve it to you. And you think that it's just a momentary kind of experience eating that food, but it has a lasting effect throughout your body. It may only take you 30 seconds to swallow the cheeseburger, but it takes days for the cheeseburger to get through your system. And it takes days for your body to get rid of the bad stuff that's in there, as well as find any good stuff that it can find. But if you start changing the content of what you put in, you're going to start seeing you're going to start seeing results. You have to really start trusting that that our bodies are just trying to survive. Our bodies are trying to keep us alive, and it doesn't understand the food that we're presenting it with anymore, because the food that we're presenting it with is so different than how we evolved to eat. We did not evolve to eat Cheez-Its and Oreos. Those were not things that existed. Your ancestors didn't have these highly processed foods and these foods that had high fructose corn syrup and I don't even know, maltodextrin, all these crazy 12-syllable words. They didn't exist before. And so you're feeding our body a foreign substance that it's doing its best with. But it's different. So Christy here says, you remember those fiber pills? Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what it was. Like I said, it was a late night purchase, probably half in the bag, and decided, that's going to be what helps me. I need to fill my gut up. That's, I mean, it did reach me because it was addressing what I thought was a problem. And if I ate those fiber pills in conjunction with a plant-based diet, it probably would have seen even more weight loss, but I wasn't interested in changing my diet. I was just interested in this magic pill that was going to help me lose weight. See, Connie here says, when you started, that you're right, Connie. Anyways, our tiny acres. All right. So your brain instantly remembered your mom teaching you about McDougall when you were young and you looked him up. Oh, when you started having the vomiting, you started looking up McDougall, and seeing what he was talking about. Yeah. I mean, he's done a lot of different things. Let's see. Pretty Girl's mom says, of course, salt, oil, sugar free. Yes, you gotta be salt, oil, sugar free. I think that is a big part of it. Like I would say that you could probably convince me that you could have animal products in a healthy diet. But I would turn around and say, can you have animal product? Could you eat a diet with animal products, but still stick to the salt, oil, sugar free? For one, I think it would be very hard to source a lot of animal products without allowing sodium in your diet, because a lot of them have sodium in them initially, or just to preserve them, to sell them. But yeah, the salt, oil, sugar, I'm a huge proponent of the removal of those things. And by doing that, I've seen incredible success and continued success. Hey, what's up, Sonia? Yes, I've got a great attitude towards the ups and downs. Yeah, I kind of, if you weren't on the stream when I first started here, shortly after my weigh-in, where I weighed in at 280.2, I got on the scale again because I had eliminated some food after the weigh-in. And so I did weigh in today with a different weight. I'll pull it up here real quick in case you didn't see it earlier. There you go, 279.2, shortly after my official weigh-in on the stream. So yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm not too concerned about half pound, quarter pound gains and losses, because so much of it's affected by the fiber and the volume of food that's in my stomach. I also talked about the food that I ate last night. I ate like a full tray of cobbler between the leftovers I didn't eat Monday and the food that I ate last night. So I just had an incredible volume of food last night. So it was not surprising to me that I didn't see a huge loss on the scale. And it's gonna get there. I'm gonna be 220 pounds, and I'm gonna be able to show off that 220 pound body. But it's not gonna be this week. It's not gonna be this month, but it's gonna happen. So and that's all I can do is have a good attitude about it. Like I said, if I was on week 2 or if I was on week 5, then yeah, I would be concerned. And that would be something where I would be looking at, what do I need to change? What did I do wrong? But at this stage in the diet, I don't even know what week this would put it at. Let's see. It's 872. It'd be at week 124. I'm almost to week 125. At week 125, you're allowed to gain a half pound. And so that's really, for me, it's about getting it to trend down in the right direction. And I'm continuing to be compliant. If it was an issue where I was not compliant, if I was eating processed foods, if I had salt, oil, sugar in my diet, and I was staying the same or gaining weight, then I could be able to point at that and say, hey, that's why you didn't lose weight this week, because you had all that salt, or you had those French fries, or you had this whatever junk food. But I don't have anything that I can point to and blame other than, oh, you just ate a satisfying amount of plant food for the last week, and that's why you didn't lose weight. Like, oh, okay. Like I didn't add, like there was something that I had exposure to the other day that had oil in it for some reason. And I got oil on my fingers and I was like grossed out. Like, just, gosh, it's going to drive me crazy now of what it was. Because it wouldn't have been at home. I don't remember now. But I remember there was something I touched that had oil on it. Or that it was just greasy, like just like that film of grease on it. And it just felt so gross. And I just think of, like, I used to bathe like in food like that. I would go to Long John Silver's and I wouldn't order anything that wasn't fried in oil. Like there would be, God, yeah, that whole meal, everything was fried in oil. Like I would go to these places and it would just be on everything. And now, our environment just seems so much cleaner because we don't have oil splattered all over our stovetop and on our counters. And so, yeah, it's just something where I'm happy with the progress I've made and the way it's going. Gene here says, you are still stable though. You gained 2, you're down 0.8 from 2 weeks ago, which is awesome. And it's a marathon, not a race. Absolutely. It's a marathon. It's not even a marathon. It's an ultra marathon. It's a marathon that you're running every day for the rest of your life. Like, and it's not even, and maybe it's, by calling it a marathon, it maybe puts too much of a burden on what it is, because marathons are thought of as tough, and this isn't tough. Like mile 21 of a marathon is really tough, but mile 22 is even tougher. That's not how this diet works. It's not like it gets tougher and tougher until it's over. Maybe some diets are like that, like keto, carnivore, low carb. Some of those diets get tougher as you go, and the longer you go, you can look back and say, yeah, I've run 20 miles, I've run 21 miles. Look at me go. I've done all this hard work. But then once you finish the marathon, you quit running. You start walking after the marathon's over for a while. And that's not what's happening with this. It's going to be, I don't know what is, it's like the sun rising. It's going to happen every day. You're just going to live it every day. And it gets easier. Really, it does. There's obviously a period of time and a learning curve to get to where you can be stable and you can be satisfied and you can be happy, but it's not tougher. Day 872 is not tougher than day 827. It's not tougher than day 728. It's not tougher than day 287. All of those days previously were probably more difficult than today is, because I continue to grow strength in my conviction towards eating this way, and I continue to see the results I want to see. Produce.pill says, so gross to think about. Some people love fried, oily foods. That was me. It was me. You'd eat it in the past, but it wasn't something you'd seek out like most people. Yeah, people have their different kind of things they go for: sweets, savories, oils. I was consuming whatever I could get my hands on. If it was savory, I would consume it. If it was sugary, I would consume it. So, but yeah, there's people that still eat extremely fried and oily foods, and it being at the top of the calorie density chart, like, for me, is what, like, that alone makes it the number one contributor to excess weight in our population. If it's got the highest calories per volume and everybody is eating it, and then everybody's getting fat, we got to start putting these things together out there. You have to start realizing that they're not good for you, and then they start changing, now we know oil's not good for you. We're going to change the type of oil now. We're going to use this type of oil because that oil was awful. We never should have been serving you that other oil for all those years. We got this new, better oil. It's going to be revolutionary. I know it's kind of in the same box as the old stuff. Don't worry about it. Just, it's different. But yeah. Then Carrie says, the oil is so nasty and it makes you realize how far removed we are from that now. Yes, it's so removed from it. And really, I'm happy that we've removed our children from it too. Like, they might have foods that have higher calorie density than what we eat, but we're not cooking that food in oil to make it even more calorie dense, and oil, really, people, they just don't count the calories. They figure, I just put oil in the pan to saute the vegetables. That oil, that just burned off. It did not burn off. It got soaked into those vegetables. It got soaked into that food, and that food that it might say, hey, on the box, it's 100 calories per serving. But that 100 calories isn't including the oil that you're cooking it in. And so that when you're doing your calculations, you're trying to figure out, well, how could I possibly be in a surplus? And it's like, well, you did have like 2 tablespoons of oil throughout the day. And that can tip it in the wrong direction. And then Produce Not Pill says here, yeah, and then it soaks into your arteries and clogs them. And this information was probably out there, or it's probably been out there for years. But just kind of the idea that the oil gets into your blood and makes it harder for your body to be able to absorb the sugar that's in your blood, and might be a contributing factor to people's elevated insulin levels or their issues with diabetes. And the just the not like there is a correlation that between eating these oils in these highly processed foods and people having arterial issues or having their veins clog. And it's not presented to us that way, or it's not talked about in that way. Carrie says here, right, there was never you were never tracking the oil in your Fitness Pal. Yes, I never tracked the oil in it. Or there's like the spray cans of oil that claim to be 0 calorie because the serving size is like 1 spray from the thing, and there isn't a calorie in 1 spray. But you don't just spray the pan 1 time, you spray it like 15 times, or you hold down the nozzle so that it pools up and you actually can see the oil, as opposed to that light mist that doesn't have any calories. And again, them playing with those nutrition labels to make you think that you are eating healthier than you actually are eating. So yeah, I talked about it a little bit already, but the believing in yourself, I have from the beginning, I've always really pushed having that very positive mental belief that you can do what you are setting out to do. The first area where I really had to push that, or I relied on that belief, was during my water fast. And I went through my water fast with the belief that my body will survive the water fast. That was something that, going into a long extended water fast, for people who haven't had experience with it, seems very daunting, seems impossible that you could go for more than a few days or a couple weeks without food. And so that lack of belief in their ability to go an extended period of time keeps them from ever being able to try it. Where for me, I believed that I could handle it as long as my body had excess body fat on it. I believed that I could fast really for an indefinite amount of time, as long as my body had fuel to grab, a fuel source, which was the excess fat around my abdomen, my whole body. So that's really where my first believing in myself came into play. It was from the very start. I believed that I could survive the water fast. I believed that my body was capable. And I also believed that if my body determined that it wasn't possible, that it would step in and say, hey, we're going to make you so dizzy that you can't stand, break your fast. We're going to make you nauseous to the point where you break your fast. We're going to make you lethargic to the point where you break your fast. That never came for me. I never had dizziness, lethargy, nausea. My body continued to perform as I wanted it to. And so I didn't need to quit my fast early. But I believed that if the need to quit my fast came up, that my body would tell me. My body would let me know. It wouldn't let me kill myself from not eating. And then the belief after that was the belief in this diet, the belief in this way of eating, and the belief that it's the healthiest possible way to eat. And so I continued to believe that I can make it to my goal. I lost an incredible amount of weight through the water fast. And I continued to believe that if I made the right choices, that eventually I'll get to my goal. And I'm working towards that goal, and I'm seeing the weight continue to come off month after month. And I'm believing that my body would tell me if I was doing something wrong. And my body would reject a bad plan. And so far it hasn't done any of that. So Carrie's asking if anybody's making anything fun for dinner. She needs ideas. Somebody said it earlier. Chef AJ had a macaroni and cheese that she made the other day. You go look that up. No. Anything fun for dinner? What do we even have? And then Produce Hot Pill says, would you ever do any other kind of fast again? Sure. Yeah, I would. I don't see a need for a fast right now. But I believe that there's, fasting isn't necessarily a weight loss exclusive reason to fast. I don't know if I would fast for weight loss again. Yeah, it's something where, so I had done the long fast in November of 2020, and 3.5 months, like March of 2021, I decided that I was going to do another fast. I was going to see if I could fast for another 40 days or how long I would be able to fast. And in March of 2021, I fasted for 9 or 10 days. I went from like a Wednesday to the following Friday. And I was doing fine with the fast. I was losing weight. But when I got to that Friday, the weekend was coming up. And I got thinking about what was going on that weekend and what I was going to be able to do and what I was not going to be able to do. Because when you're fasting, if you want to continue to fast for a long time, you have to really make sure your activity level is down, it's low. And when I started, it was easy because at 520 pounds, I wasn't doing anything. I was getting in my car, driving to work, going to work, getting back in my car, driving to get some fast food for lunch, coming back to work, sitting at a desk, and then driving home and sitting at home all day. So when I was 520 pounds, my life was really sedentary. But 3 months later, I was over 100 pounds lighter, and I was no longer happy with that sedentary life that I had developed around myself. And so when I was 9 or 10 days into the fast, I was looking at that weekend and I was like, I want to go out and do stuff with my kids this weekend. I want to go out and have fun. I don't want to be in this fasting kind of state. And so I broke the fast so that I could enjoy the weekend. So this is just, I guess, a long way for me saying that in order for me to fast, I have to give up other things. And I don't know that I'm going to give up that activity level right now or that ability to do things with my kids for just kind of a temporary weight loss too. Because fasting for 40 days, I lost an incredible amount of weight. I mean, I was on the opposite end of the spectrum from a healthy diet. So my body was just begging me to do anything. But I was, in my 40-day fast, I lost 90 pounds. And then 10 days later, I was another 10 pounds lighter. So in my first fast, I lost 90 pounds and I didn't really have a rebound back. But that didn't happen with the second fast. The second fast, it was only 10 days. I lost, I don't know, probably at least 10 pounds, maybe 15 pounds on that fast. But then I gained all of it back, or a lot of it back, when I refed. And then it seemed to slow down my weight loss after that point. Like I was on this really nice trend after my first water fast, and then I did the second water fast, and it felt like it took me a while to get back to that same trend. So I would fast for health. I would fast for like if I was, I don't know. I think Janet recently had gone to the True North Clinic and did a fast. And I feel like there was some sort of underlying health thing here. Or Jean says, actually, Janet will do an occasional 36-hour fast with her husband. I could see doing little fasts, but not for weight loss. That's not what is going to get me down to 219.8 pounds. Like fasting, and even if fasting got me down to 219.8 pounds, it's not going to keep me there. Like I'm gonna end up getting into this cycle where I fast and then eat, fast and then eat, fast and then eat. Whereas I'll just eat my way to that weight. Let's see. There was Gene says, check out Dylan's Well Your World's Freezer Jambalaya for dinner. Yeah, we'll have to look that up. Carrie says she's not feeling like any of the usual recipes last tonight. Yeah. We haven't had chickpea tikka masala in a while, but I know that uses coconut milk, or something with coconut in it. I think you can change it. But yes, the belief in yourself is key to the success of a diet. And when you first start a diet, there's a lot of that belief. There's a lot of I can do this. I can make it happen. I finally determined to do it. I finally got the diagnosis of diabetes I've been waiting for. I just sitting there waiting for a doctor to tell me I have diabetes so I can start a diet. Like there's lots of people out there doing that. I was doing that, like not like actively, but in the back of my head, it was like, well, I haven't had a doctor told me I need to do anything, so I must be okay. Well, when was the last time you were at a doctor? Oh, it's probably been about 10 years. Oh, so you haven't seen anybody that can give you advice in 10 years. And since you haven't received any advice from those people you haven't seen, you must be healthy. So yeah, I think that so many of us are just waiting around for that terminal diagnosis to make our change or to make the shift. And so then once we have that, then it becomes you against the world. And then you have this huge belief in yourself that, that you're the underdog story. I can do this. It's me, and you do well for a little while. And then, life hits you in the face. And then that's when, you have to kind of realize what's going on, or, take control. But so you have that belief so hard at the beginning. And then something cracks that belief, and then you just flip the chessboard, like that's something that we run into too, is we have this bipolarization that we either have this complete confidence in ourselves or we have zero confidence in ourselves. And so it's either we're on our team or we're against our team. And it's hard to be in the middle, and you don't need to be in the middle. You should just be believing in yourself the whole time. Always be a cheerleader for yourself. Always believe that you are going to make the best choice for you. And you can struggle through these things, and the struggling through them is only going to make you stronger. Like that's a big part of this, is that the first year I had that perfect mindset going, that I'm going to do this perfect and that it's going to be perfect and I'm going to reach my weight in a perfect amount of time and everything's going to be just perfect. And then that utopian world starts to fall apart. You're not able to get all your meals like you were before, you have something change, or you allow something into your diet as, let me try this new food. Let me try fruit juice. Let me try avocado. Let me try these things. And then removing them becomes more difficult. But you have to believe that you can work through that. And so after that first year, I was, during that first year, I was, a total believer. I was totally on board. And then I tore my bicep tendon. We were out of town, tried some plant-based burger alternatives, which led us to trying some vegan pizzas from local restaurants, to trying the vegan fast food things that they were selling at the different restaurants. And, that whole second year, I was kind of wrestling with this: what is my diet? What was my diet? What's my diet going to be? But all of that time and all of that effort that I spent continuing to believe that I was going to see, my goal weight, allowed me to strengthen my knowledge, strengthen my conviction in eating this way, and just overall made me better because of those struggles that I had to go through. But through those struggles, I believed that I would still figure it out. I believed that I was going to be able to do it. Pretty Girl's mom says you should try the barley vegetable soup from the Woman Warrior Cookbook. Yes, that is a great recipe. We've had the barley vegetable soup a few times. She says that Pretty Girl's mom, that Regine says that sounds good. You get your book tomorrow. You can't wait. Yes, that's exciting. I really like that cookbook, even though I'm not a plant-based woman warrior. I'm a man warrior. Hear me roar. But yes, there's some great recipes in that book. The other one that I liked the recipes from, that I was surprised about, was like plant-based families, I think. All these recipes we've had to kind of adjust or modify to our own kind of tastes or our own dietary restrictions, because a lot of them have salt in there or something that we don't have. So the belief that you can still power through, the belief that you can fail and then still succeed, the belief that it's you're not a failure, like so many times people just believe that they're a failure, and you're not a failure. It's hard to fight against the temptations that this world puts in front of us. And if you've succumbed to those temptations, you're not weak and you're not a failure. Like, if you failing to resist the temptations of these companies is not your failing, it's the success of some scientist or some lab guy or some bean counter that sat down and said, how do we convince the most people that we're right? How do we convince the most people that it's okay to eat a sleeve of Oreos? How do we convince the most people that it's okay to drive through and get handed 3,000 calories in a paper bag? That your failure is more a sign of their success than it is your failure, because they are spending billions to figure out how to trick you individually. Even though they might send that message out to the masses, the message is built for an individual basis. They don't care if they can convince groups of people. They need the individuals, because if they can get the individual to believe them, then they can get the groups. But even if they don't get all of the individuals to get the group. As long as they got some of the individuals, they're still going to get money. And so you have to understand that we live in this temptation-filled world. And a big part of the reason why I've succeeded is because I've removed the temptations. I don't go to fast food restaurants. I don't go inside of the gas stations. I don't have the food. I don't have access to the food around me. It's not part of my diet. It's not part of my my thought process then. Like if you have the candy bars in your cupboard, if you have the box or the bag of chips or the box of crackers in your cupboard, then you have to go through that mental fight of resisting that temptation. So if you clean up your environment, you don't have to deal with that temptation. Now it's, oh, I'm hungry. If I want to eat at home, I'm hungry and I want a cheeseburger, then I have to get in the car and drive to a restaurant and order the cheeseburger to get it. But if I have a pile of apples and bananas and rice cooked in the rice cooker or potatoes in the Instapot, like I can choose, like you have to choose to walk by those other foods to get to the cheeseburger. And when you have that choice, it makes it so much easier to resist it. When you can go, oh, you know what? Instead of getting in my car and going and getting food or going to the grocery store and getting this junk, I'm going to go to my pantry. I'm going to grab a couple oranges. I got leftover soup from yesterday. I got food ready from the day before. I can throw a bag of broccoli in the microwave. If you clean up your environment, have access to abundance of healthy foods, it makes it so much easier to stay compliant and stay on your diet. Rebecca says you understand people's struggles in a different way. Yeah, I mean, I know the struggles from my perspective, from what I dealt with. And I think that a big part of this victim mentality thing really comes from a diet I did 10 years ago, and the doctor was telling people to quit playing the victim, quit being the victim. Like it was throwing it on the patients that they were being the victim. And I think that it was unfair. Like, I get it, like, sure, you're making the choice to eat bad food. Yes. But how is it fair when they don't get to have any say in how the food's presented to them? They don't get any say in what is written on the side of the box, what's in the box. They don't get access to the actual findings from studies and results from the use of these products. Like, we as a consumer are really at a disadvantage. The game is always stacked in the grocery store's favor. It's not in our favor. Because we're just individuals, like we can get together and we can have these conversations, and I can try to get masses of people to start changing the way they're eating, but we're still just individuals making the choices for ourselves. So it's you versus Ronald McDonald. It's you versus the Burger King. And it's a tough battle, and it's a battle that we just don't have the resources to win without a lot of effort, or without taking a lot of effort. Carrie here says that the kids had some vegan cereal yesterday that a friend sent over, and she totally tried a piece of it. And I called her out on it right away. I said, hey, there's a little bit of that FOMO going on. Carrie says that it was tasty. So we don't know what FOMO is. FOMO is the fear of missing out. Again, Taco Bell, the biggest contributor to FOMO diet failures in the world. It's going to be somewhere like Taco Bell. Hey, come try our new fajita taco crunchy wrap supreme gordita. What's in it? Oh, it's lettuce, cheese, meat, and tortilla shell. Okay. Well, what's in your taco? Oh, it's lettuce, cheese, meat, and tortilla shell. So wait, what's the difference between the one and the other? Oh, well, we put extra cheese on that one, or it's got 2 different shells, or, like they want you to be worried that you're missing out on the next greatest invention that they came out with. And it's like, oh, so what new products did you bring in for that new invention? Oh, no. We didn't need any new products. We just redesigned the formula, and so you get this fear of missing out. The newest version of Pepsi came out. Pepsi Clear is being reintroduced. Oh my God, we got to go get a bottle of Pepsi Clear. You're worried that you're going to miss out on something, and you're not missing out on anything. And what I found that I do, so the difference between me and Carrie is Carrie tried the little piece, and then she says that it was tasty, but it wasn't worth the gas she had the rest of the day. I just smelled it. I was like, I can get a pretty good grasp of how something tastes just based on the smell. So occasionally, if the kids have something that they're like, oh, Dad, this is so good, you should try it. I'll be like, well, I'll smell it. And then that smell, because I've tried so many flavors in my life, and my brain has a pretty good memory of those flavors because of the amount I had it. I can kind of get an idea of, oh yeah, that smells like it's going to taste like this, or it smells like it's going to taste like that. I know that it's not truly giving me the actual taste. And in one of the cases, I was like, I don't think I would even try this. After smelling it, I was like, I think I'd be okay without that one. But yes, I didn't have to worry about having gas the rest of the day from eating just a little piece of puffed cereal. But yeah, and the vegan puffed cereal, the sample pack that we were given, was just crazy how expensive it would be. Like, per pound for that cereal would be just stupid expensive. Whereas per pound potatoes are really cheap right now. You can get a lot of potatoes for a pound. But yeah, that's all something that, like the boxes were designed a certain way and a certain kind of thing. And they were branded as vegan. And in some ways, they might not even needed to be branded as vegan. They look like the Kix cereal, that the little balls of Kix. It just looked like that with flavors on them. So they might not eat, I don't know if Kix might not, it probably isn't vegan. I don't know. I can look it up real quick. No variety of Kix cereal are guaranteed as vegan as they're fortified with vitamin D3. I have no idea how that vitamin D3 makes it vegan. Maybe the sourcing of the sugar and the vitamin D3 makes it a gray area for some vegans to avoid. And then Honey Kix is definitely not going to be vegan, I guess is what it's going to say. So they were like these little puffed rice balls with flavoring on them, and they branded them as vegan because they know that they're going to sell more, or they can sell some to people that way because they're branded as vegan, and all kinds of different things. But even healthy foods are still kind of not healthy. That wasn't a healthy food. I don't know why I said healthy food, but even vegan foods are, branded that way, or, not everything is healthy. Gene here says that one always is hopeful that the rest of the world is catching on to healthy living. Yes. I imagine you meant to say healthy living instead of health lying. But that is actually a great term. I believe that there's a lot of people out there doing healthy lying, that they are portraying something as healthy, but they're lying about it, or they're lying about what they're doing. Or these companies are putting these healthy markings on the boxes, but they're truly lying because they're just trying to put lipstick on a pig, right? Our Tiny Acre says that someone mentioned a new Dr. Pepper to you because they knew you always used to love Dr. Pepper and your brain went so not interested this time. That's great. Yes, it's tough to resist some of those things. Like Dr. Pepper is something I used to drink all kinds of diet Dr. Pepper, or there was a different flavor of diet Dr. Pepper. I don't know, dark cherry or something. But yeah, that they come out with a new random flavor every year, every couple years, or every so often. Or there's the Sierra Mist cranberry, like that was a thing. Oh, it's November. Sierra Mist is doing their cranberry again. You got to go out and buy it while it's there. And you don't want to miss out on that. And so Gene says they need a label that encompasses our way of eating. They do have a label. But it's not really a label. It's the lack of a label. Our way of eating is if you grab the foods that don't require a label at the grocery stores, that's where you need to start looking, like it's when they are required to have labeling, or they're required to have a label on them. That's when I've talked about in the past that the label that is on food, that has the calorie content and has the nutrients, that was intended to be a warning label. It was intended to let people know this is what the company has done to your food. And the companies have turned that warning label into the information center and the holy grail of health, and make you believe that it needs to have a label and it should hit certain percentages. Oh, this doesn't have enough grams of protein per serving. This doesn't have enough vitamin A per serving. What, you only get this percentage of your sodium? But it's all just confusion, craziness. Look at the foods that don't have labels. The celery and the carrots and the corn and the oranges and the, like they're not required to have labels because nobody has messed with them after they grew. They're not removing stuff from them. They're not adding things to them. So, what our label should be is just a big sticker that says no label needed and just stuck on the side of the food. And then that means it's okay. I'm sure there's a few examples where that's not the case, but all of these foods, the labeling also, not just the nutritional label, but like the label and the branding they put on the boxes, the packaging they put it in, that's all for profit. They do that so that they can get the profit from you. And they build that profit into the cost of the product. Whereas there isn't the same profit margin in apples, and there's not the same profit margin in bananas. And so you don't see these fancy labels, these fancy packages that they're in, like the oranges, I guess, come in a sack that have some labeling on them, but it's a see-through sack. It's not a wooden or a cardboard box, because if it wasn't a cardboard box, then people would be leery to buy it because you'd open it up and there'd be moldy oranges in there. Whereas at the store, you can take the bag and kind of move it around and check to make sure that everything is okay. But yeah, I think that the label we need is a no label needed sign, or a, um, no processing done to this food, process it at home, take care of it yourself. But, and Carrie says the vegan definitely does not equal healthy. Absolutely not. There's lots of unhealthy vegan things out there. And we've tried a few of them. Our kids love a lot of them. But it doesn't mean healthy. And there's a lot of companies out there trying to do that healthy lying by saying that just vegan is healthy, and it's not. It's eliminating processed foods is healthy. So I went on for a super long time today, but definitely believe in yourself, guys. I believe in myself. I've believed in myself from day one that I could get through the fast, that I could get through the dieting, that I could figure out how to make this my life. It's not a marathon. It's an ultra marathon. It's a super marathon. It's a marathon that you run every day. It's just life. And it doesn't get tougher. It's not like day 860 or 872 is tougher than day 850. It's just life. And yeah, I'm happy. So thank you guys so much for all of your support. I went very long today. If you are still watching this, thank you so much for checking out my video. Everybody that joined me in the live stream to chat today, I appreciate all of you guys. Everybody who's watching the replay, I really appreciate your comments and your questions. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you do get subscribed to the channel. If you've not clicked on the bell icon to get alerted when I go live or post new videos, make sure you do that as well. A couple other things, if you could like this video, comment down below, how do you believe in yourself? How has your belief in yourself helped you to get to where you're at today? Or how is it helping you get to where you want to go? And if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. There's nobody that reaches their goals, looks back, and wishes that they would have waited. So thank you guys again, and we will see you tomorrow.